Their freedom is at
risk.
So let's start with the so-called assault weapons, more properly known as semi-automatic rifles. In 2011, the total firearm murders came to 8,583, according to the FBI. Now, during that time, the total murders committed by rifles, all rifles, not just semi-automatic rifles, were 323. That's 3% of all murders. Hammers and clubs kill half again as many people as rifles. Hands and feet murder twice as many. And knives kill 5 times more Americans than all rifles combined. Preventable medical errors kill about 98,000 people per year. Medical malpractice kills more than 12 times as many people as are murdered in the U.S. each year. That's more than 300 times the number killed by all rifles, not just the so-called assault rifles. And yet, no one talks about limits on hammers or knives or doctors or hospitals. No one does that because the good we perceive from hammers and knives and doctors far outweigh their perceived harm. And yet, studies show that firearms prevent anywhere from 800,000 to over 2 million violent crimes every year. The lowest estimate means that 100 times more violent crimes were prevented with firearms than the total murders committed with firearms. That's 100 times as many.
Part of the new voter ID law that was passed by the North Carolina General Assembly and signed by Governor Pat McCrory eliminated the ability of 16 and 17-year-olds to pre-register to vote. The legislation granting teenagers this ability passed with overwhelming bipartisan support in 2010. Teenagers were encouraged to pre-register through programs in their high schools and when they went to the DMV to get a driver's license. The elimination of pre-registration was one of the first parts of the new 56-page voting law to go into effect. The ability of 16 and 17-year-olds to pre-register and automatically be added to the voter rolls when they turned 18 ended on September 1st. For a lot of kids, this is the start of the school year. So ask yourselves, young people, why? Why did they want to take away our ability to pre-register so quickly? When pre-registration was debated in the North Carolina Senate, Senator Rucho of Mecklenburg County said pre-registration was confusing to teenagers. He said his own son was confused as to when he was supposed to vote. This senator, who has served over 7 terms, said he had to write a letter to the Board of Elections to clarify at what age his son was supposed to vote. Before Governor Pat McCrory signed the bill, he was asked about the elimination of pre-registration, and his answer was he hadn't read that part of the bill. After signing the bill, Governor McCrory's office issued a statement calling pre-registration a bureaucratic burden. I wanted to meet with our governor to discuss pre-registration, but he called my request to meet with him ridiculous and called me a prop for liberal groups. This is not leadership. The young people of North Carolina deserve better. I am not a prop. I am part of the new generation of suffragettes. And I will not stand silent while laws are passed to reduce the amount of voter turnout by young people in my home state.
In 2008, less than half of all eligible voters between the ages of 18 and 24 voted. Less than half. Young America, why are we only speaking with half our voice when so many issues at stake here directly affect us?
Mashable earlier this month gave us all a heads up on the reintroduction of CISPA, the Cyber Intelligence and Sharing Act, which easily passed the House last year 248 to 168. While Mashable reported that CISPA would allow private companies and the government to share information about cyber attacks with one another to bolster security, privacy advocates argued it would allow the government to snoop on citizens' personal data. This is already happening. When private data miners like Google and Facebook, companies which backed CISPA before it wasn't good PR, give up information freely to the federal government without a warrant, it's called sharing. Otherwise, it would be called illegal. But in a world of warrantless wiretapping, indefinite detention, legal torture, and secret kill lists, it's the new normal in cybersecurity.
But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right.